What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James, man. I'm back in these streets. I'm back in these work streets. And you know what it is. We're going to talk a little Cowboys football right quick. Make sure you tune in to Burgers and Blitzes. I think it's going to be a hype show today, so make sure you turn into that. Me and Mike already talked about it. But obviously, we're going to talk about a few signings that just recently happened. And I'm just going to call myself Confucius, dog. Nostradamus. Y'all may not want to believe it out there in these streets, but this man be calling these signings, dog. I'll be okay with the draft, but I'll be on point with free agency. I'm keeping it real. But anyway, if you was under a rock, you would have not known about CeeDee Lamb. Signed his deal finally. He's back in the building. 4 years, 136, 100 guaranteed. We love it. CeeDee, I love CeeDee. I like CeeDee. And, when he first came in the league, we had the back and forth was he, the guy over Amari Cooper. We just love to have the back and forth. But at the end of the day, had that career year, shattered records in Dallas. And it's good to have him back in the building. Only problem is you hate to have him come back now when you could have did this earlier. He said himself he was chomping at the bit. He said himself you can't get back that valuable practice time with your quarterback, with your guy, the team. You need all that. I was worried about that. I've been, vocal about, guys sitting out, and it's not their fault. They're trying to get paid. I get it. But when you're not around the team, you're missing valuable time. And it just seems like those years when you sit out that long and then you come right into camp and then hit the ground running, just doesn't always seem like it works out, but I pray it does, and I'm not wishing it doesn't, but I'm just happy CeeDee got his money. He's back in the building. Listening to him, it was business as usual. He thanked his agent, gave the Joneses a shout out, but I didn't see the love. Hey, he gave the shout out for them paying him. But he definitely gave his agent a shout out for sticking to his guns and getting it done. So, like I said, you're in the building. The 53-man cut happened. I was frustrated. Y'all know why I'm frustrated. I haven't got to check the waiver wire because it's that 24-hour period. But, the only really surprise to me, is, I honestly went through the 53. I didn't really go hard on it, but Matt Wesco, dog, I'm going to just tell you right now, when Stephen Jones like you, it just feel like you bulletproof. You know what I'm saying? When Stephen Jones like you just feel like you bulletproof. This dude, and people have been saying it because Matt Wesco was the Amari Cooper trade, because with that pick, when they traded that 5th round, they got Matt Wesco. You feel me? So this dude literally has not seen the field in 4 years. Literally. He makes the active roster? Matt Wesco is weak. I don't care what anybody tells me. He's just not a good player. And once again, Stephen Jones is keeping him on the roster because he don't want to look like it was failed. And we made a mistake on Matt Wesco. That whole 2021 class was just a bust. Let's keep it real. Instead of Micah, Osa, other than that, that class was just not good. That was a bad draft class all the way through, the offensive linemen, all of it, except the top tier guys. But I was crazy that you kept Matt Wesco on those 9 offensive linemen. He was not impressive. Even Josh Ball was better than him in the preseason. But Stephen Jones, as we said, that was your trade, and the Cowboys don't want to admit a mistake. So that's why Matt Wesco was on the team. 4 years, no work. I made the comparison. On the other hand, you cut my dog Julius Woods, my dog. Am I biased? Yes, I'm biased. I'm keeping it real. I'm totally biased. But what I'm trying to figure out right here is Matt Wesco is a draft pick and ain't seen the field in 4 years, but yet he is making it on the 53-man roster and did nothing to really do it. But my dog Julius, who y'all love to undrafted, right? He's cheaper. I think you kept Mukamo, and I told y'all about that. Y'all can keep Mukamo, but Mukamo ain't going to sign here after next year. I'm going to go ahead and bank on that. He's not going to sign here unless it's a dirt cheap deal. He's not signing here. So you cut my dog Julius for Mukamo. You could have kept Mukamo at the cornerback and still kept my dog Woods. You feel me? What more did he have to do? Tackling everywhere, coming downhill, getting all kind of interceptions. Not only in training camp, transitions and get to the real games in preseason, and he getting them there too. Ball hawk, playmaker, lays the wood, great size, and he's cheap. I hope he clears them waivers and comes back. I hope, Julius. I hope you do, Julius. I hope you do, Juju. I hope it works out. And the main reason why I want you on the Cowboys is because I can follow you good. It ain't because the Cowboys. It's because it's my team, but it's because I can follow you. I can follow your career a lot better rather than if you were with somebody else. And that's maybe it's me being selfish because I want to see my dog. And then you kept one tight end. You went 4 deep on the tight end, right? Because you like the potential of the Ford kid. But he didn't really stand out, did he? I'm not hating. I like the potential. But he didn't do anything in this preseason or the preseason games to really say, oh, we're keeping him. You didn't like that potential from Julius? You ain't going to have Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker forever. You ain't going to have him. You got a young buck in the fold. And then we like John Stevens. But John Stevens didn't do anything significant this season. He was on the roster from last year because he got hurt. So he was automatically going to make the roster this year. So you went 4 heavy in tight ends. Okay, but 2 of the guys didn't really do anything, but you just kept them on because Stevens was our pick last year, and we're just keeping him. You traded Peyton Hendershot. That's cool. You traded him. You at least trying to get something for him. But the 2 tight ends that you kept, they didn't do anything significantly to me in this training camp or the preseason to really say, oh, we're keeping 4 tight ends, but you let my dog Julius go. That's only my beef. That's only my little beef about it. I said I'm biased, but it just didn't make kind of sense to me. But it's cool. I ain't mad. Now, let's also talk right quick about a recent signing that just happened. Now, as I told y'all, I'm Nostradamus in this BI. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm Nostradamus in this motherfucker. At least on the free agency, because let me tell you something. And I wish I could go back to my Facebook, but it's well documented. When the Cowboys free agency, when Robert Quinn was with the Miami Dolphins, nobody was talking about Robert Quinn. The Mighty Quinn. I was talking about the Mighty Quinn for anybody. But I'm going to just name the names. And these are names before anybody was jumping on Twitter, before anybody was saying, let's go get him, let's go him. I was in these streets talking about it, throwing it out there on Twitter, throwing out some names. I threw out Robert Quinn for anybody. Everson Griffin. I ain't going to really claim him because a lot of people was kind of talking about him. But I was one of the top people talking about him early. Everson Griffin. Anthony Barr. Nobody was talking about that. Anthony Barr. Also, Jonathan Hankins, years before they signed him. Jordan Phillips, years before they signed him. Linville Joseph, years before they signed him. Rashad Evans, when nobody was talking to him, only person who was ever mentioning him was PJ Nix. But you feel what I'm saying? I was nailing these guys way before anybody was talking about in the streets. And now we just got a recent signing in Dalvin Cook. I was calling for Cook after the 2022 season, after he left from Minnesota. And if you look at it, Dallas got a real kind of connection with Minnesota because they got some players over there from Minnesota over to here. I don't know if it's the Zimmer thing, but, you know, I was heavy on the Dalvin Cook train. After he was done with 2022 and he went over to the Jets, I was heavy in them streets. Get Dalvin Cook. When he was talking about getting released, get Dalvin Cook. He'd be a great addition. Great addition. Whether you kept Zeke, whether you kept Tony Pollard, because Tony Pollard came off an injury. He had a bad injury too with his leg. So it wasn't like when, you know, they said Dalvin Cook kind of fell off because the stats only rushed 67 times for 260 yards. But let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. The running back over there in New York, and they got a plethora of running backs. The young boy over there, what's his name? I can't even remember his name because it's off the top of my head. But he was a dog. Bryce whatever. I can't remember his name. Now they got the other big boy, Bryson Allen. But the main thing is they already had the running back already in the fold. In my opinion, Dalvin Cook was signed for insurance to make sure he was all the way back. Breece Hall. Breece Hall came in and turned up. And they had a young buck behind him. So they don't need the older guy. He was insurance policy. And then when people talk about, oh, Dalvin Cook looked terrible when he was with the Jets, he got 67 carries. You get what I'm saying? And it wasn't like the Jets line was dope. And he was a little bit older. But I don't think he fell off that far from 2022 to 2023. He had 1,100 yards, almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. You get what I'm saying? Averaged 4.4 yards a carry. And he had a couple 80-yarders, so the speed was still there. We saw him in a game against Buffalo in 2022 at the end of the year. He was still skirting on folks. So I don't believe his speed dropped like that. I just feel like it was a numbers game in New York. They want a Hall to be the man, and you was just an insurance policy just in case that didn't work. Well, them young guys came through, and they didn't need a Dalvin Cook. So I don't think he fell off physically or anything like that. And then when they were talking about he wanted to go somewhere else at the end of the season, I said still go get him. You could have had a combination of Dalvin Cook, Tony Pollard, combination of Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, however you want to do it. You had that combination a couple years ago, right? And it could have been popping. So this is what I say about Dallas and my feelings toward the organization. They're a day late, a dollar short, like I said. Now, I ain't mad you got Dalvin Cook, okay? Right? I ain't mad. Well, he's 29 now. I don't know what he's looking like this year, right? I mean, physically he looks good, but you don't know what that speed is looking like. And we don't know what the dynamic is with Rico Dotto or Ezekiel Elliott, or even Deuce Vaughn. We don't know the dynamic. Is he even going to even be on the team long term? This is another shut-up signing, in my opinion, with Dalvin Cook. Although it could work out, because I feel like Dalvin Cook still has that long speed. You know what I mean? So it could work out. But this is still a shut-up signing. Shut your mouths. We got a running back off the streets, and he's reputable. But all I got to say is this about Dallas. I know y'all, with Jonathan Hankins, you could have got him when he was affordable, when he was 28, and he really could have helped you. Y'all wait till he's older and cheaper, then y'all get him. Well, he could have helped you 2 years ago when you really needed it, right? And then with Linville Joseph and Jordan Phillips, I wanted them 4 years ago at their peaks, at their dominant stages, where they could really come in and really be an impact. I don't know how much of an impact they'll be now because they're older. But Dallas waits. They always do the circle round, just like I called Anthony Barr. They wanted him out the draft, right? But they do the circle round. They wait and wait and wait, and that's their problem, in my opinion. They wait. They don't make things happen. They don't initiate things to happen. You get what I'm saying? They wait until you get cheaper. They wait till you get older. They wait until you got some injuries. You feel me? And then they attack you. I'm like, man, let's get these guys when they're highly productive. Maybe you might have to spend a little bit more cash, but that little bit more cash, and they highly productive, that could really be the one to take you over the hump. Not when they not as productive, not when they are older, and now injuries are hitting them. Now, do they make that same impact to the team? I don't think so. And that's my issue. Do they make that same impact they could have made years ago when you could have had them then? And y'all always are waiting till they get older, cheaper, or injured. That's y'all MO. And that's just a problem for me. You get what I'm saying? Y'all sit on your hands. Y'all wait for things to happen. Y'all don't make things to happen. And, I just feel like I called all these signings and they're always late when you could have had them early. You had the money to do it earlier. You didn't want to do it. You want to get them when you're cheaper because you're always worried about the cap. And that's just my issue. And then my last thing, I just saw Clarence Hill talking about, I don't know, what's going to happen. But, CD signed and he said, I want Dak back. I'm coming back. I want Dak back. That's what your receiver should. He's been having that relationship with Dak. Why would you want somebody else? But now we hear Clarence Hill talking about it's unlikely that a deal will be signed before the start of the year for Dak Prescott. It's unlikely that's going to happen. So I ain't seeing two big mega deals within a week or two. I don't see that happening. Dallas doing it. If they do it, cool. But I just don't see them doing that. That's not how they work or operate. And now we hear that the contract is most likely not going to be done before the start of the season. And if it's not done before the start of the season, are they really going to be talking and negotiating during the year? I doubt it. Dallas don't do that. Maybe they do. I haven't seen it. And they're going to do it with Dak. We'll see. And you playing that game, him hitting that open market, because he's betting on himself, and he comes in, he bet on himself before, and he turned up, and he came off his best year. You don't think he ain't gonna come in motivated? You ain't think he ain't gonna come in motivated to shut them up? And okay, if you ain't trying to pay or whatever, then somebody gonna pay me. You feel me? So, it's just gonna go back to say, you can say you love somebody, but showing love and talking about love is two different things. And we knew CD was going to get signed. There was never a doubt for any of us that CD Lamb was never going to get signed. So can't nobody jump out there and be like, oh, they was playing a dangerous game with CD. No, they weren't. This is his first deal. He was getting signed to a second contract. Anybody in any kind of football knew that was going to happen. But it is a doubt with Dak because he's already got a contract and they haven't won with him. And I'm not saying that, they can't. But I don't know if they're going to win the ultimate prize, not the way this organization runs. I just don't believe it. So, I want what's best for Dak. If Dak wants to come back to Dallas and do his thing, by all means, make it happen. But if Dak wants to say, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else, I wish the best for him, and I hope he turns up and goes crazy. Because if that does happen, I hope that he goes somewhere else and blows it up so he can rub it in Dallas' face and say, see, it wasn't me. And let me tell you one last thing. If Dak Prescott does stay here and he does get this deal, and by some chance, which I don't believe is going to happen, and if by some chance Dallas gets to a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott, and by chance Dak Prescott wins the Super Bowl, I don't care if it's one appearance. If he gets to one Super Bowl and wins one in Dallas, he's the greatest quarterback in Dallas Cowboys history. Better than Troy Aikman. Better than Roger Staubach. And I'm going to say this. Roger got 2. Troy got 3. But guess what? They didn't have to put up with the shit that Dak had to put through. For all this hate that he gets, and I've hated too, so not like I haven't hated, but for all this hate that he's got, and for all this BS that he's went through, and for all this doubt, for everybody calling him mediocre, for everybody saying he weak, he come in and win a championship in Dallas with all that BS he got to deal with them dudes. Yeah, you the greatest quarterback ever played in Dallas Cowboys history. And my take on it. Big Game James, I'm out. Check out Burgers and Blisters tonight. We going in. Peace.